Welcome to the Patient Empowerment Program.
Welcome, everybody.
We are speaking to you today from our home, our kitchen here in Halifax, Canada, which is located on the ancestral, unceded, and unsurrendered territory of the Mi'kmaq and Maliseet people. We recognize that as we move this program forward, that we have a responsibility to continuously educate ourselves and work in solidarity with Indigenous communities.
Well said. Thank you.
So today we'll be providing an overview, a summary of the dietary advice that we will be providing to you over the next 6 months on a daily basis. Now, let us just reiterate, we don't believe that there is such thing as a perfect diet. There is no one size fits all.
Right.
So instead we'll be talking about healthy eating habits, what's best to eat, when to eat, because it seems that when we eat is just as important as what we eat.
Yeah. The first bit of advice is that we're offering general advice, and I really highly recommend that you go see a nutritionist who can assess your diet and make individualized recommendations for you. So it's super important. As well, if you're in the midst of chemotherapy, radiation, or asked to follow a low fiber diet, or the treatment affects your swallowing or your GI tract, or if there are problems with weight gain, weight loss, I really recommend you talk to a physician, your family doctor, oncologist, and again, to get advice around what is best for you. So we're going to give you a big picture dietary advice, but you really have to individualize the advice for yourself.
Yeah. We are promoting a plant-based anti-inflammatory diet.
Yep. And the diet can make a tremendous difference in your health. Really, in terms of physical health, mental health, energy, how you think. Diet has a profound influence. In fact, it matches the entire purpose of the program there.
Yeah. When we eat is just as important as what we eat.
Yeah.
Time restrictive eating is something that we'll be talking to you about.
Yeah.
Don't eat for 12 to 14 hours every day. And we'll be talking about the circadian rhythms and how they fit into this picture as well.
Makes sense. And again, you want to take these recommendations according to what is best for you.
Yeah.
It may not work for everybody, for instance. We're hoping over the 6 months that you're able to transform your diet, because it's hard to do a kind of change of diet overnight, although I think we did it.
Yeah, we did it. Actually, we turned vegan.
Full
cold
disclosure.
turkey.
We're vegan,
3.5 years ago,
and we feel
well.
great as well
Yeah.
on that particular diet. I have more energy, I'm in better shape, et cetera, et cetera.
I think better.
because
My
of
gut
it.
feels good.
Yeah, and diet should be enjoyed, right? It's an opportunity to
Yeah.
connect with each other, right?
Yeah.
So-
And it plays such a big role in how we derive pleasure in our lives. So we don't want to take away that source of pleasure from your
Yeah.
life. Instead, we just want to tell you, what does the science say? What are
Yes.
some of the things that we can do to empower ourselves to lead a better quality of life, and also, work alongside with the medical system to promote the best health possible.
Perfect. It is the combination of the best from the medical system, including dietary advice and what you can do to empower yourself. And diet plays a very important role in that. So you can see the topics that we're going to cover, and which we're going to cover during the 6 months of the program. And so it's a complete overview, scientific perspective of how to really maximize your health around diet. We're also going to talk about some myths.
Yes.
So you can still have your
And
coffee
demystify them.
and your chocolate and all that stuff.
So we're talking about behaviors, but also specifics with regards to what diet to adopt, and what does the science say with regards to that.
Beautifully said. Okay, so firstly is to understand, how do cancer cells develop? And you think of the normal cell that's kind of reproducing itself over and over, and it gets damage and more damage. And as the years and decades go on, if you get dozens of mistakes in the cell, then you're going to actually produce a cancer cell, and that's a cell that grows fast in an uncontrolled way. The dietary advice is not to have that damage as an ongoing thing, because if you have slow-growing cancer cells in your body, you don't want to turn them into fast-growing cells. Damage from a poor diet can lead to cancer, and damage from a poor diet that can turn the slow-growing cells into fast-growing cells. So we're trying to stop that damage from happening. In the same way, if you know that a particular activity like exercise, diet, maintaining a reasonable weight decreases the risk of a person getting your type of cancer, you want to adopt those activities after you get a diagnosis. In the same way, if you know that certain activities like smoking or alcohol increase the risk of your type of cancer, you want to avoid those afterwards. don't perturb the cells, and the healthy diet really helps in that side.
And so you can see why we get so pumped up about this, because we're activating this role that we all have in our own health to work alongside with the medical system to make sure that we diminish those sources of inflammation in our life.
And irritation.
And irritation,
perfectly said. So it's not just the cell, it's the soup or the chemicals in which the cell is growing, right? In inflammation, think of it as irritation. Those molecules actually cause damage to the cell, which can make the cells worse. But they also drive cell growth. They make the cells grow faster. You don't want either of those things to happen. So we're really talking about an anti-inflammatory lifestyle, right? Exercise, diet, practicing a meditation technique or relaxation technique, stress reduction.
All aspects of
connection,
the
right?
program, all aspects of the program.
Yeah.
And we see this as a, as a celebration, if you may. I mean, this empowerment is about, wow, look, actually there are some things that I can do to work alongside with the medical system to help me feel better. Next, we're going to talk to you about time-restrictive eating. What is time-restrictive eating?
It's the idea that you not eat for a good portion of the night, essentially, and typically not eating for 12 to 14 hours.
So if I eat throughout the day and I stop at 8 o'clock at night, then I don't eat until the next morning until 8 or 10 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly. So that's super healthy.
Right.
And we don't like to call it fasting because it sounds like you're restricting yourself somehow. It's the same nutritious diet. You're just limiting the time in which you're eating it.
Yeah, and if you work at night, because some people work at night, then your circadian rhythm is different than, say, ours. We sleep at night, we work during the day. So in that case, your fasting or time-restrictive eating will happen during
a different pattern.
The day.
Yeah, exactly.
But also for about 12 to 14 hours.
Yeah, so the idea is, and I'll explain the physiology around this, because you want to go from eating, which has what they call glycolysis, it's the sugar part of your diet, to not eating, which is the ketones. And you need to cycle in and out of that every 24 hours. You need both sides. It's not just the fasting that's the healthy part of this. So to explain this, when you eat a meal, the nutrients create glucose and the fatty acids that go to the cells, and also the liver stores the glucose as glycogen. When you stop eating, the glycogen in your liver gets burnt off, and then you have to rely on your fat cells, which send fatty acids to your liver, and the livers produce the ketones. So during that kind of hungry phase, or I should really call it not eating phase, the ketones are produced, and that's what you want to get to, because when you're in that phase, your body starts to heal itself.
Yes.
Right? It's
including the liver, the kidneys, the brain. I mean, the science is incredible around this.
It is incredible. So the ketones also prime the cells to eat up the damaged cells. So you're kind of eating your own cells, including cancer cells. They're eating up the debris and bits, and that decreases inflammation in your body. And as Gabriella has said, it really helps repair damage to all sorts of systems, including your stomach. Think of this, when you eat a meal, you have to put in all that acid into your stomach, and it actually irritates the lining of the stomach a little bit. When you give yourself a non-eating phase, it allows the stomach to kind of heal itself in. And we don't want that to be kind of an ongoing irritation that causes inflammation. So you need to have a phase where you're really kind of cleaning up all the kind of damage.
And this is so
cells.
counterintuitive because, the stomach feels funny, and most of the time, what do we tend to do? Oh, let me eat something. Maybe I'll feel better. And the science shows that, that's the last thing you want to do. You want to give your liver a chance to actually start regenerating. That's another thing. The science shows that our liver can regenerate. It was
Heart cells can as well. Yeah, the brain has a capacity to adapt.
And the kidneys?
Yes.
It used to, old science used to say that, we get older and all this function is going down.
Down.
Think again.
Part of the science is that every single cell in your body follows our circadian rhythm, right? So think of it, at nighttime, it's not just your brain that's resting, it's the entire system that's resting. And if you have like a huge meal at 3 a.m., you know how you would feel, right? Because the body's simply not prepared to do that. So we want to respect that and really allow the body to repair itself. So if we take this away, the mice studies show that if the mice are allowed to eat all the time, then they have higher blood pressure, higher fat production, higher insulin levels, which primes cancer growth, higher sugar levels. It's simply not good for us. To take away, ideally do not eat for the first hour of the day. So even the lemon water, we don't want to have people eat for that first water. You just want no calories at all. Yes, water, yes, tea, yes, coffee, but no calories for the first hour of the day.
Yeah.
Likewise.
And then of course we do in the program we do say that then after the hour has passed, do start gently.
Yeah, you can start gently at that point as well. Yeah,
right, with
exactly.
a warm glass of water or a drink that is kind of easy on the system and also gets to clean those pipes up.
Nice, beautifully said. Likewise, for the last 2 or 3 hours before you go to sleep, no calories need to be going in.
Yeah.
Okay, so fasting, we're recommending time-restricted eating as opposed to fasting, which is where you're really cutting down the caloric intake per 24 hours. There's some remarkable science as well that fasting 24 hours prior to chemotherapy and then 24 hours after chemotherapy actually has a profound influence on the effect of the chemotherapy. So it can actually kill off more cancer cells. It's almost as if they're more vulnerable. Yeah. So part of the program and part of the video conferences is that we offer ongoing scientific updates.
Yeah, because the science keeps on changing.
Yeah.
And of course, we recommend you check everything with your medical team.
Thank you.
We understand there's individual situations here. There's everybody has a different situation and different regimens of chemotherapy and treatments and so on. So please kindly make sure you check with your medical team.
Yes. So how do you time restrict? Your body needs to be able to learn to do this. Like muscle training, you go to the gym, your muscle gets stronger. Well, your system gets stronger at producing the ketones from your liver and each cell being able to metabolize those ketones, right? So you need to kind of practice that, get stronger and stronger. And I give you an example of how to slowly time restrict. So for instance, if you're only not eating for 10 hours at night, each night, then you might expand that to 11 hours, 12 hours as the weeks and months go by.
Beautiful.
Hopefully getting yourself up to about 14 hours of not eating. So that seems to be a kind of the magic cutoff there. Yeah. You can expect side effects.
And we walk you through that process throughout the 6 months. So we actually encourage that step by step. We're not going to jump from day one to... that's it. We're all vegan and we're all eating healthily at the right time and with the right intent.
As you're slowly doing this, you are going to very likely to experience the kind of the hunger phase for the first 2 to 4 weeks. So if you go from not eating for 10 hours to not eating for 12 hours overnight and into the morning, you will feel a little bit more hungrier on those days. So the blood sugar goes down, hangry, a little more irritable, maybe a headache, maybe a little bit less energy.
Small prices to pay compared to look at the benefits.
And that is not going to hurt you, right? None of those are life-threatening in any way or form. And the benefits, as you say, are really multiple. If you get into that rest phase, then your heart can function better, kidneys, your immune system, which is critical for cancer, functions better. You're likely to lose a little bit of weight and yet not muscle if you continue to exercise. It has an anti-cancer effect.
And weight loss.
Brain
function.
And then the sugar system. It's like so many positive things for not eating for that 12 to 14 hours per day.
Yeah. Not that we're endorsing or saying that a special BMI is optimal. There's no such thing as optimal BMI. It's all about your individual case and how do you feel, and there's not the perfect body.
Yeah,
we don't believe
fitness
in that.
trumps fatness, right? So we're not looking at the scale. It's more important that you're happy and fit than actually whatever the weight is.
Plus, if you don't have any reserves as you're going into surgery and then you're not going to be able to eat for a while and you're very, very skinny, that's not good, really.
Either as well.
Yeah.
So,
Who shouldn't fast?
So I'm thinking about people who are in the midst of chemotherapy, really kind of need more calories, or if they're feeling very frail or weak or very elderly. Again,
Children,
the idea is that you need to talk with your team. If you're out of that kind of treatment phase, then it's an easier diet to adopt. So recommended.
How does that help heal cancer?
Well, there's a few ways that diet has a profound effect on the cancer part of this. And it's not like you can just ingest that antioxidant like turmeric and the turmeric goes in and kills off cancer cells. It's more complicated, more indirect. We talked about damage. You don't want ongoing damage. A poor diet is damaging the slow-growing cancer cells, turning them to fast-growing cells. We want to stop that process.
And it's also difficult. I mean, we've been damaging our bodies for so long. There's no such thing as, oh, I'm going to take 2 spoons of turmeric now and
Boom.
Inflammation is gone. It just
change
doesn't work that way. Step by step by step. It's an easy process.
The antioxidants are important though. So the fruits and vegetables can go in and they kind of mop up the damaging chemicals. So the anti-inflammatory diet by itself is really mopping up the chemicals and stopping the priming of the cells. The other thing is around sugar. We don't want the spikes in sugar because when the sugar goes up in those processed sugary foods, that releases insulin and insulin-like growth factor that actually prime cancer cell growth and cause more inflammation and more damage. So we want what they call a low glycemic diet where the sugar kind of stays at a nice routine level and you feel better. You don't get the spikes up or down afterwards.
And that unleashes the body's innate capacity to heal.
Exactly. And the immune system, etc. Totally with you. Okay, the microbiome.
Oh, those are our friends.
100 trillion bacteria in our gut.
Yoo-hoo! Keep on going.
They are essential. Like they're digesting our food. They help with our immunity. They create hormones. It's so important that we feed them. And it's fiber. Fiber is what we need to feed them, right? Because they're growing off that fiber.
Keep those flax seeds and those plants and vegetables going.
Yes. The idea is that if you don't feed your bacteria, you can actually irritate the lining of your gut because they'll start kind of eating at the gut in some way. And it can cause something called leaky gut syndrome where if it's too thin, then the bad chemicals within your gut kind of leak into your bloodstream and cause inflammation and just make you feel worse.
And we all have had an episode at well, not all of us, but food poisoning.
Food poisoning,
you know
yes.
what that is?
Yeah.
Well, that's all about irritating the lining of the gut and going into the leaky gut syndrome.
The idea is that some people take probiotics, which essentially is between 20 and 40 species of bacteria. I'd recommend you not do that in the long term because you don't want those bacteria to outgrow the other normal bacteria. You need tens of thousands of species of bacteria. You really want an incredible diversity like an ecosystem or a forest that has such great diversity.
Yeah. That sauerkraut, that kombucha, just in moderation.
Yes, beautifully said. Principles of a healthy diet. What would you say is like a top line principle?
Eat food, mostly plants, not too much.
Right. What does it mean by eat food?
Well, you look at the label and you read the ingredients and you say, have I ever heard, is there such a thing as cytomylosis biochemical? No, that's not food.
Yeah. If it's a chemical, it's not food, right?
No.
You really want the whole unprocessed food for the most part. You want 50+% of your plate to be veggies or fruit, to kind of plant-based, healthy stuff, right?
Yes.
The antioxidants there. We talk about complex carbohydrates. So it's not a low-carb diet or a high-carb diet. It's a complex carb diet. The reason being is that the body has to work a bit harder. It's a slower burn, a slower release of those natural healthy carbohydrates. So you're not getting the spikes there.
Try to get your source of protein and fats, healthy fats, from non-meat sources.
Yeah, agreed. So less
especially
meat,
no red meat.
We're going to talk about healthy fluids and fiber, super important as well. And biggest principle that I really think is important is multiple sources, multiple different types of foods with different micronutrients or nutrient-dense foods at every meal. The one obvious supplement is vitamin D because we simply don't get enough sunlight. If you're a vegan, vitamin B12, and I'd recommend you talk to your physician about what dose that is, but it's usually 2,000 international units of vitamin D. And then adopt a healthy habit that you will enjoy in the long term.
Yes,
right?
Make it enjoyable. This is not about decreasing your quality of life. It's about increasing your quality of life. And make it as a, think about it as a new challenge.
Nice.
I mean, this is great. A challenge that will give you something wonderful at the end. right?
Nice.
We work hard to get rewards. Well, this is a wonderful reward. You will feel better, you will think better, you'll have better quality of life. And also we teach by demonstration, right? From our acts. The people around us, our communities learn. And so we want our families and our communities to thrive.
Yeah.
And we want ourselves to thrive. And it all starts from here.
Nice. Be the change that you want to see in the world. So during the 6 months, we're going to talk about the big 4 food groups, which is kind of funny anyways. Veggies, fruits, whole grains, and this non-meat protein, legumes, beans, seeds, and nuts.
Oh, we can't wait.
Yeah, it's fun. It's
Yes.
thing. How about what we should avoid?
We should avoid sugar drinks
Yes.
and refined sugars.
Yeah.
They're not good for us.
Yeah.
Fried foods are not good for us. Processed foods,
Yes.
particularly red meat and processed
Yeah.
meats are
Yeah.
not good.
So if you don't buy those things, it's hard to consume. So we'll also
Right.
talk about shopping.
How about sugar? Does it feed cancer?
Sugar feeds all cells. I don't think preferentially cancer cells because our bodies need that. The issue around sugar is not to have the sugary drinks because of that spike in your blood sugar levels and the crash and so on, and all the insulin and the inflammation that happens with it. So I really think that eating fruit that has fructose in it is actually very, very healthy, partly because you have the fiber with that fruit that slowly releases the sugar into your bloodstream. So it's all healthy stuff that we actually highly endorse.
Little or no red meat?
You're on that side. Red meat.
No red meat. I'm on this side. It's true.
Yeah, red meat irritates the gut. Although you might need that, your physician or dietitian might say you need the red meat to get your iron, for instance. So.
Although there are healthy sources of iron as well. You know, the issue with meat is it's complicated, but also think of us, I mean, we don't live in a vacuum, we live on a planet, and there are planetary needs right now that don't necessarily support the consumption of meat.
Right.
So we all have a responsibility, a civil responsibility to think about that and see how can we contribute, how can we make things better for our planet and for ourselves.
Yeah, so meat production takes 10 times the energy and has much bigger environmental impact. So eating plants is really very important.
Yeah.
We do recommend fish, obviously in very low quantity, maybe once per week, for instance, but staying away from the high metal fish.
That's the issue. There are issues with the toxicity, right?
Yeah.
We haven't been very kind to our planet.
Yeah.
So there are high levels of toxicity in water. So you have to be, mindful about those issues as well, because you don't want to increase the level of toxicity within your own body. If the fish is not healthy, you're not healthy.
Right.
So keep those things in mind. Mackerel is very good.
Yes.
It has a very short period of time when you can get it. And then, of course, there's smoked mackerel, which is also delicious, but you don't want to have too much of that because it's not good either.
Yeah.
So, again, all almost forcing us towards a more plant-based diet, more fiber, healthier. And try to go organic, grow your own, go local, grow your own food if possible. Buy a hydroponic garden or look into how can you make a hydroponic garden that is cheap in your own home, because it's worth it.
Nice. How about this? Do you get enough protein from non-meat products, non-meat diet?
Of course you do. Oh my God, look at the bull. Look at the bull. Look at the buffalo. My goodness, they're strong. They don't
full
eat
of
meat.
muscle, right?
They
Eating
eat
grass.
grass.
The grass has the same amino acids, which are the building blocks for protein, as the muscle of an animal that we eat. So you do have to think about it and make sure you're getting that protein in your plant-based diet. So, and we're going to go over.
Yes, we do talk about, is oftentimes, and I remember from my own life, you hear about a better way, a better, healthier diet. And then I remember being young and saying, I'm not going to eat much anymore. No, we're not saying that. We're saying you ought to eat. Just think about what you're putting in your body, right? And think about, can I make a better choice? And go for that choice. And we'll talk about how can we do this practically speaking. What are some practical solutions to make this work? For all of us.
Including healthy sources of protein, right?
Yes.
The grains, the nuts, the beans. We'll talk about that week after week after week. So,
and we have lots to tell you.
Yes, lots to tell you. Including, one of the principles is eating whole grains, not processed grains. So you're not eating like white bread, for instance. The problem with eating processed grains is you lose the micronutrients that are inherent in the whole grain. And it's so processed that it can get into your bloodstream too quickly, giving you that spike again, right? So there are healthy whole grain options for you. And we have access to the international grocery stores, right?
Yes.
So You can experiment, see if you like it, see if it feels good, and then hopefully adopt that.
Yeah.
I do like this quote from Kelly Turner: "No sweet, no wheat, no dairy, no refined foods," which was the foods that her patients who did exceptionally well were eating. How about supplements? What's the one supplement that you really need?
Vitamin D.
Nice.
1,000 to 2,000 units or more if your doctor recommends, and vitamin B12 if you're vegan.
I'd even say ask your physician, your family doctor, to do your vitamin D blood level, so then you actually know if you're getting enough vitamin D. So otherwise, you don't need extra supplements, right? Your diet that's balanced and diverse can really provide all the micronutrients that you need.
Yeah, so it's all about diversity. If your diet is good, then we don't
Yeah.
need supplements,
Typically.
extra supplements, typically speaking.
Yeah.
That's why a nutritionist is so important to talk to.
What about healthy fluids? What would you recommend in the healthy fluid
Oh
side?
my goodness. Chaga tea, saffron tea, turmeric tea, ginger tea, lemon water, reduce alcohol, get rid of it entirely if you can. There's new science now. Just a few weeks ago, a paper came out and said, really, no amount of alcohol is good for us. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah. So for the guys, it's definitely less than 6 drinks per week. For the women, less than 3 drinks per week.
Yeah, it really damages our cognitive function and just overall
Yeah.
function. Try to stay away from dairy if you're not a child, of course. Almond milk, oat milk can be great options.
And stay hydrated, right?
Yeah.
Have the glass of water, the bottle close by. It's one of the healthy habits you can adopt. Okay, you're going to be happy with this one. What do you say about coffee, good or bad?
Fantastic. That's great for you.
Yeah, well, it is, especially in the lower roast, it has more antioxidants. I've just warned you against caffeine, because caffeine is a stimulant. It has a half-life of 5 to 8 hours. So drink your coffee in the morning and really enjoy it. And then be really nice to your husband afterwards.
There are beautiful choices out there of coffee that has been mixed with lion's mane, which is a mushroom, or chaga mushroom, and they're known to boost your immune system, improve cognitive function.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, how about this? Is fat bad for you?
Not all fat is bad for you.
The saturated fats are not so good.
No.
But you need fats, right?
Yeah.
So what
They're wonderful good fats.
What I call is a healthy fat diet, not a low fat diet. And again, multiple sources of different healthy fats throughout the day.
Nuts, seeds, fish, beautiful oils like olive oil, avocado oil.
Nice, yeah. So the oils can be healthy. And we'll actually go over this in the program, like olive oil, cold press, less than a year, stored in an opaque container so it doesn't desaturate with time.
Thank you for that. That's true.
We love
avocado oil
because there's a higher melting point, and so we can cook with it more easily.
Yes, and grapeseed oil for salads is fantastic.
Nice. You do need your omega-3s because our body doesn't produce omega-3s, so you actually have to ingest it. Omega-3 is good because it reduces inflammation as opposed to omega-6, which causes more inflammation. So your diet can actually...
So things like flax, walnuts, and chia seeds, small amount of is found also in grain vegetables. Hemp hearts are fantastic for a wonderful source of omega-3s.
You can get it from fish as well. The issue though is the fish, if it goes stale, becomes rancid, then you lose that healthy molecule. So you want to eat your fresh fish, your healthy fish, canned.
I think that's very, very important.
Yeah. Throughout the program, we're going to go take you at a week at a time, for instance, a diet that elevates mood. That's a good thing, isn't it, honey?
Brazil nuts is a very good thing. It's a very good thing. Brazil nuts are wonderful, actually, for improving your mood. 2-3 maximum a day.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about more about that. But oranges, kiwis, figs, dark chocolate. They're just a few.
Thank goodness it's good for brain food, too.
Yes.
Brain food.
Omega-3s.
I like blueberries. Like I'm a blueberry-aholic as well. Put it in the smoothies and so on, right?
Turmeric is fantastic. I cannot tell you enough. It's just it's wonderful. It's a root that looks like ginger. It's fantastic for us, and it's so lovely to see it in grocery stores.
So other anti-inflammatory spices, because turmeric's
so many
easy,
of them.
right?
Turmeric, ginger, garlic, saffron, chaga.
garlic especially, you love to put that on top of your vegetables, right?
Especially local. Buy local. If you buy garlic, please buy local.
Yeah.
Buy local.
Wherever possible. The other principle is that we hope to help you swap in the good foods for the bad foods. So this is like a habit and a shopping habit and a way of life. You still have to eat, but just not eating the bad stuff. You put in the healthy stuff instead.
Exactly.
So, so there's really lots of great options in terms of the...
And we'll provide you those options on a daily basis for the duration of the program for the 6 months.
How about dairy? Good or bad?
Recommend that you stay away from it unless you're a child. Really, there are such healthy choices out there in terms of almond milk and oat milk and chia seeds, almonds, tofus, leafy greens, soybeans.
There's lots of, those things help replace the calcium there. You definitely want to cut back on the fatty dairy, right? The cheeses, sorry to say as well. Shopping is critical to all this. Shopping and planning, right? Because if you can go in with a plan, you're less likely to buy the unhealthy stuff. So that's the efficiency part of this. One of the home run ideas from this program was that frozen foods actually maintain their nutrients. So if they're harvested and frozen, you can have that same healthy food if it's a frozen food, and it's easy to prepare.
Robin, I like that so much because not everybody, there are people that live in a place where you have 1 or 2 months of summer and then what? And so to be able to, buy frozen foods and put them in the fridge and eat and know that they're still nutritious and that nutrient value is still there, it's fantastic. It's wonderful for us. Don't shy away from frozen fruits.
The berries are obvious, but I really love the cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, so healthy. The other ones is you can get high protein vegetables like green peas and green beans. Right? That's really, really, really helpful.
I'm so happy that you mentioned the cruciferous vegetables. We'll be talking a lot about them, really, but we ought to go back to start looking at old recipes that our grandparents used to make with cabbage, with cauliflower. They're fantastic for us. They're filled with wonderful nutrients.
You can store the healthy, cooking that you put together, those dishes as serving size items, and then simply heat it up. So again, efficiency.
See, the bacteria in my gut right now is just cheering along. Yes, we can do this. Yes, feed us, feed us, feed us.
We're going to go over healthy breakfast options because it really is one of those things that you can control within your life, right? Decide what you're going to eat first thing in the morning. We happen to like either an oatmeal combination or a type of smoothie, but then garnished with fruits and seeds and hemp hearts and
pumpkin seeds and flex seeds
and Brazil nuts and
hemp hearts
and mixed nuts and anyways,
and raisins.
Time to go. We got to go eat some lunch. So lunch is also a healthy option for you. Here's a picture of our cauliflower chickpea
and mushrooms. Don't shy away from mushrooms. Shiitake mushrooms. All sorts of healthy options. Lion's mane.
And smoothies. Something where you can integrate multiple food groups into a single healthy, tasty option, right?
And don't shy away from adding ginger to that. Our colon's health is important.
Chia seeds, ground flax, hemp hearts, those are all nuts, seeds.
Turmeric.
You're getting high protein, healthy fats all in one go by simply adding those garnishes in around that.
It feels like we're already doing a daily video.
Now you get the feeling. Is a ketogenic good? Does it starve cancer?
No.
No, it's not a good diet. For a couple of reasons. One, too high in fat, too low in protein, and you don't get your veggies and fruits.
And fiber.
And fiber, so the fiber is actually super important as well, right? So we don't recommend a ketogenic diet. We want you to cycle in between eating the healthy, nutritious stuff and then not eating overnight, essentially, so you produce those ketones and the benefit of ketolysis, right? Vegan diet, we're definitely recommending, although you might be a part-time vegan, might be a way to go at this. I eat fish maybe once every month or two.
And you may need
don't tell anybody.
I won't tell anybody. I didn't hear that. You may need a supplement. You may need to ask a dietitian. Get support to ensure good intake.
Is chocolate a part of the vegan diet?
Yeah.
Yeah. And chocolate is actually good as long as it's not too high in sugar, right? So you want the higher cocoa content.
That's right.
70 to 80% is a healthy product.
Yeah.
How about soy? Would you recommend soy?
So and so.
I would say yes, as long as it's not high, you're not binging, like
That's
too
the
high
issue.
a content.
Yeah, that's my reservation.
Because it is actually really very healthy food, and there are lots of different options of integrating soy into your diet.
Yeah,
So,
if you buy soy, try to buy organic.
yeah.
Yeah. And of course, now you're going to ask me, is organic
Yeah,
necessary?
yeah, exactly. You got it.
Well, listen, yes. The answer is yes. Less pesticides. That's why we're, recommending if you can develop
Yeah,
a
it's like more
hydroponic garden
expensive.
it's important because you have no pesticides when you
Yes.
don't grow something in dirt. You grow it in water,
Yeah.
right? But if you're going to buy local, try to buy local. Try to buy organic as much as you
Yeah.
possibly can.
For certain. And again, it probably doesn't make a huge difference, but we do recommend it. Alcohol, we said no.
No.
There are lots of different options, lots of different resources for you to go to. We are going to have some little cooking videos that you're going to see as well. And we're going to have fun, preparing those foods and connecting with you. And just a last plug, remember to love the planet,
Yeah.
right? Choosing the non-meat dishes actually decreases our environmental impact.
It's so important to see our planet's interest as our own because we're all one, we're all connected. So let's demonstrate what we want to learn and what we think it's important.
You're a model.
Uphold to those
For your
values.
friends and family and so on.
And let's all feel better.
Yeah, take care of yourself, love yourself, and
Get PEP.